Welcome to Parenting Wins. Has your child just tied their shoelaces or eaten sprouts for the first time without complaining? These are the kind of successes that we're here to celebrate and share on Parenting Wins. And also, we're here to learn as parents from expert guests. I'm your host, Iona Chisholm, and I'm delighted to be joined today by a special guest. She's been here before, and we're lucky to have her back. She knows all the children and families at her school as individuals, and she describes the atmosphere of her school as vibrant, nurturing and stimulating. It's the head teacher of Chadsmead Primary Academy. It's the return of Mrs. Gemma Granger. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back, and thank you for coming back to share your knowledge and experience with us. So you've previously spoken on an earlier podcast episode about nursery and reception and all of the information there. We are going to quickly cover that today, but I'd just like to say at this point, if you want to, you can go back and listen to our earlier podcast where Gemma tells us about that in detail. Because today's podcast is going to be about a whistle-stop tour of each primary school year. We're going to try and cover, aren't we, the key features of each primary school year to give you that information, and also to talk about how parents can support their children in each year group, and also how parents can support the school in each year group. So let's go back to the very beginning, shall we, Gemma, and talk briefly about what the earliest time a parent can send their child to Chadsmead Primary.
Wow, you can send your child at the age of 2 to our seedlings. So our provision is open from 2 years old. It is all about settling in, it's about security, and it's about exploring. Lots of sensory things, lots of play in the moment, and then being flexible, whatever the child needs.
Brilliant.
And then after that, you would move to nursery, which is from 3-year-olds. And that becomes about confidence, independence and readiness to learn then, with a focus on fine motor skills, mark making, holding, tools, those kind of things, gross motor skills, kicking, cutting, climbing, and then self-care, toileting and emotional regulation, and then stories, rhymes, songs, throughout all of the early years.
Fantastic. So we've got ourselves to reception, which is, traditionally the time when a child starts school. Do children have to be toileted and able to read before they come to school? What ideally would you say is appropriate at that point?
Not to read, we do that, but be read to and understand the love of stories and turning the pages in a book, absolutely. Ideally, if you're sending your child to school in nursery, you would want them to be toilet trained, but that happens when a child is ready, really. And we support all parents through that. So that's not a barrier.
Yes, and is that in nursery year and reception year that if there are needs for support in that area, they are given?
Absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. So as I said, we spoke about nursery in detail in our last podcast, but just for the purposes of this podcast, Gemma, can you give us a flavour, please, of what is the nursery reception year? What are the key things that happen in that year, and how can parents engage with the school at that point?
Yeah. So in reception, the key points for us are applying your learning, being independent and becoming confident learners. That's where all the focus will be. So there'll be lots of transition activities for you to go from nursery to reception. Although the children, by the time that they've done some time in nursery, are really ready.
Yes.
And there's a lot of mixing between nursery and reception as well, because they like to do things together,
yes,
actually.
Absolutely. And if a child hasn't been to the nursery at Chadsmead and is going straight to reception, there will still be that transition where they're in that settling in period, particularly at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, there absolutely is. Lots of stay and plays before that you come, so that you're fully immersed in it when you get there.
Lovely. And is it right to say that a flavour of that reception year is learning through play and a variety of areas in the classroom that will develop the children's skills as you want them to?
Absolutely. That's the different areas are designed to meet the different needs of the child and focus on different skills that they need. And they learn through play, which is carefully crafted by the staff and often not appreciated by the children. They're just having a wonderful time, but they really are
They don't know they're learning, do they? That's
No.
brilliant. And how can parents connect with the school in that first nursery year?
They would talk to the school about their child's needs and share anything they know. But then equally, we will supply them with a wealth of information and lots of points for communication, inviting them in, sharing their learning. There's parents' evenings, there's newsletters. So at every point of the time, you should be aware of the kind of things your children's are doing, and they should be talking about it, and then it's encouraging it. Often the themes are hooked to a book, and the children will know the book really well because children love repetition. And so then letting your child talk about the book, having the book at home, sharing another story by that author, those are the kind of things to be involved really, and your child will guide you.
Brilliant. And so reception year, it really is that first connection with the school, isn't it? And the child is settling down, the parents getting to know the school community, their own parenting community, and also the children will be getting to know their friends. So it's an important year, isn't it? A really significant year where you find your feet and make your relationships with the school, with friends and with, parent friends.
Yeah,
so
the beginning of many years to come,
yeah.
built on those foundations.
Absolutely. And so we're going to move from reception into year one. Is year one very different from reception, and is the classroom in year one very different?
It is actually. Whereas reception was very play-based, in year one you're moving to a national curriculum now. So there is more emphasis on sitting down at a table and learning. There is still lots of play, but there is more sitting down and persevering at an activity for slightly longer rather than the free flow style that was reception.
I think children can find that difficult, especially if they're boys, and I have boys, and they found that transition difficult. What does the school do to help in that? And what do you think parents can do if a child is finding that change of classroom and of concentration difficult?
Well, we build up over time. So they will have experienced this as a gradual approach in reception. And then we kind of carry it on from that moment. We don't just suddenly go, oh, and now we do this. So really, before they know it, it's built up over time. And by Christmas, it's just happened. Yeah.
I mean, is it right that you obviously have your area with desks where children will sit and write more? Do they still sit round on the carpet, for example, and are taught by a whiteboard? And do they still get access to outdoors? So how does that all fit in the school day in year one?
We absolutely still sit on the carpet, share things together, still use whiteboards, still walk around the classroom, still have play areas. Don't go outside as a free flow activity, but they become more structured physical education lessons.
Yes, and playtimes, of course.
And playtimes are still the same, yeah.
Brilliant. Anything else that you can say about year one before we move on?
The importance of year one is the phonics that they learn. Now, they will have started to learn phonics. If you listen to the last podcast, you'll know. But at the end of year one, they get tested in the phonics screening check. Not to worry. They just get 40 phonic sounds to be able to say, and if they know them, that's great, and if they don't, they get another chance in year two. They'll get continual teaching of it as well. It's a baseline of where is the child at the end of year one as far as phonics is concerned, because that is really necessary for learning to read.
So is that a Chadsmead test, or is that a national test that you will have in any primary school?
That's a national test that you'll have in every primary school.
Okay, so it's a good way of finding out if your child is able to meet those sounds. Are children generally able to reach them at that point?
Yes, very much so, yes.
Yeah, so it's a realistic one and it's all good.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Anything else to say about year one before we move on to year two?
Yep.
Is year two very different from year one? I've got a note here, including SATs, because you do have SATs in year two, don't you?
Well, these are optional, and at Chadsmead we choose not to take them.
Right.
That doesn't mean that we don't test our children. It means that we choose to test the children in a very familiar setting within the work that we do, rather than sit down to a formal test, which they were previously.
Okay.
However, we will make judgments and share those judgments with you in our communications, end of year reports and parents' evenings on where your child is in relation to being age related.
Yes. So is that a phrase, age related abilities or expectations? Yeah. Is that a phrase that you will hear?
Age-related expectations is the phrase that we all work to in primary schools, and we would want a child to be at the end of the year at age-related expectation.
And just talking generally about that, what if they're above age-related expectations and what if they're below? Is a child accommodated?
Yes, because the curriculum allows for both of those scenarios. So if you're slightly below, you would know about it. It wouldn't be a shock at the end of the year. There'd be lots of communication, lots of intervention put in place, lots of support. You would have been aware of it. For some children, you might be on a plan for support, which is our special needs process. And then for the high retaining children, well, the world's your oyster with those. Yeah. We don't cap them. We absolutely don't. If your child is ready to read, then we go with them at their pace. Likewise with maths, we introduce them to more complex problems and puzzles to feed in their mastery of mathematics.
Fantastic. And just thinking about the environment in year 2, we talked a bit about what the classroom looked like in year 1. Is it very different in year 2, or are we talking about some areas with desks and some carpet time? Is that the same kind of setup?
I don't know if the children would notice for a difference going from the end of year 1 to the beginning of year 2. We still have carpet time, but then still sit at desks. I think when they get into year 2, they're very used to it. They kind of like the grown-upness that they're becoming.
Yes. So it's, in your experience, it's a smooth transition between those years.
Very much so.
Anything else you want to add about year 2? No. So we're on to year 3. So tell me about the difference from year 2 to 3, and is there any transition or any significance of that movement?
At Chadsmead, we are 2 different buildings. Although the children come into the Key Stage 2 building for computing, to have their dinner, to do PE, to do assemblies, singing, they're actually now in this main building. So we do offer a transition for the parents. They come in and they see the classroom and what the space is like. But actually, the change from 2 to 3, they do enter a new national curriculum, government national curriculum. But the children wouldn't really see anything apart from physically moving.
Yes.
The expectation becomes a little bit more. There's less sitting on the carpet, but sometimes that's because of space.
Yeah.
They do get more spellings would be coming, because by this time they can read, and now they're entering whole class reading, which is really interrogating a book, looking at that together. And then the writing time becomes a longer. They'll be able to write for a more sustained period.
Brilliant. And it's lovely hearing about this progress. You can really feel, as we're talking about the different year groups, how everything increases and develops for the children, doesn't it?
It does.
And one thing we've talked about before is how parents can engage with schools. So when we get to year 3, are there any particular ways that parents can engage? And also the thought that's just occurred to me is, do parents of each year group engage in the same way and to the same extent? Or are there any periods, where it tails off a bit? What would you say about that?
I think that sometimes engagement from parents is less as you get older through the school.
Yeah, as everyone's settled.
Yeah. But we do the same, really. We invite all of our parents in, no matter the year group. So had we be doing a phonics workshop for the younger children, we will also run a reading workshop for the elder children.
Yeah.
And if you've got 2 children across the school, then it does stop siblings being a little bit upset that somebody's come in for one
Yes.
and not the other.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Would you make sure that a parent isn't penalised by those workshops being at the same time so that they can come in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've run workshops this week and done that exactly. Made sure we've checked to see that everybody could come.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to add about year 3?
Well, when they start year 3, they start to learn a modern foreign language.
Oh.
So this is compulsory for primary schools when you start in year 3, and we
Right.
do French,
Oh.
and that's really good for them.
And they take to that. Do you find that extra element of learning, they're able to take it on at that point?
Yeah, they really like it because it's a lot. It's a lot structured. It's fun. You know, they get to talk.
Absolutely.
in French, yeah. So
And
it's very good.
talking is an important part of learning, isn't it? Do you have a focus on talking particularly at Chadsmead?
Yeah, and we've prioritised oracy at Chadsmead for many years, actually. And I'm really pleased to hear that it's been recognised in the new national curriculum, in the
Okay.
current review.
Yeah.
Without being able to speak, the children will find it difficult to understand what they're trying to explain and to write it down. And actually, it's so wholesome, really, for a child to be able to tell a story is really the first step, and then who knows where that can go afterwards. And we teach oracy, as in we teach them how to maybe emphasise certain words to get it across. We teach them sentence stems that they can use to put a point of view across in a better way. And we show them role models of people, you know, that have great oracy. And they're really on board with it, actually,
Yeah.
and we've seen some really good results.
And do you find that that is something that children of all levels are able to take on board and succeed with?
Yeah, absolutely, and
Yeah.
they really enjoy that as well because most children like talking. So yeah, now you've given them a structure, and they feel quite grown up, and to be
Yeah.
able to structure a conversation well or an argument text well, they do really like that.
And is that used in lessons? So, for example, the children might be taught something and then be invited to discuss it with their partner as a way of seeing if they can articulate what they've learned. Is that something that's used?
We do talk partners right the way down, for nursery reception right the way up. It's a really good way, and in all lessons.
Yeah.
So you can tell your partner how you've added those numbers together. You can tell your partner how the heart works.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, and that really reinforces the learning.
Yes.
It structures their oracy,
Yes.
and they really like it.
That's fantastic. Well, are we ready to move on to year 4?
We are.
So what would you say are the key features in year 4 and ways that parents can engage at that point?
Year 4 is bringing together a lot of facts in maths, but it is an accumulation of the multiplication tables check. So that everybody in year 4 does this across all the schools. And you need to know all of your times tables from 2 to 12. And there's 25 questions. You get about 7 seconds to answer the question, and it's all online.
I'm trying to remember, is it Percy Parker and is it Times Table Rock Stars? Is it those
It
kind
is
of apps
good
that we
memory.
do? Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
Yes.
Times Tables Rock Stars is something that we do at Chadsmead.
Yeah.
And we've found great success with it, really. But it's just one of the tools, really. We do pencil and paper. We do grids. We do fast recall. And knowing those facts, the children are so enthused.
Yeah.
They really are,
Yeah.
because it is a case of learning it.
Yeah.
And
in a fun
then
way.
they see that they have learnt it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
really the progress that they see themselves making works really well.
And of course, that's something parents can help with at home, isn't it? You know, there's nothing like a times table song going in the background when you're driving to school or whatever. And again, it's opportunities to engage as parents in your child's learning are parenting wins, aren't they? You know, if you can connect and help and be aware of what your child's doing, it's a lovely way, isn't it, to support school and to support and have your relationship with your child.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Anything else to say about year 4?
Homework in year 4 will be stepping up somewhat.
Yeah.
Then, so you'd definitely be getting a piece of maths and literacy based on the work that they've done in the week.
And is that every week they'd get one
Every
of each?
week you would get those homeworks. At this point, we're really pushing the reading, because possibly you're thinking that your child can read fluently now, but actually reading aloud to an adult is still such a really important skill, and it really aids understanding. And it's so much more than reading the words. Comprehension is understanding what you've read, and that comes from reading aloud.
Yeah.
So I will always spend a bit of time with parents in year 4, making them understand that, you did do it then, but now you're doing it for a different reason, and that's really important.
And is that things like predictions of stories, understanding what is suggested in a text? It's that more sophisticated analysis, isn't it?
It is,
So
the inference.
That's what I was searching for, thank you. So if parents can help with that kind of thing, that's quite a sophisticated way of analysing a text, isn't it?
It is, and as an adult we do that without realising it, but you had to have been taught it at some point, and this is where it happens.
Brilliant. So we've got to year 5. What would you say are the key features in year 5?
So year 5 is about bringing together everything and getting to the point of, I know all of the times tables, I know all of my number facts, and then I can do something with them. And things become more in depth. So we're not just taking number facts, we're really solving problems in multi-step problems. So I'm taking 3 pieces of information that I know and putting that together to solve our problem.
Yeah.
So it becomes an accumulation of facts and making the links between those facts for them to be useful. They will get much more challenging texts as they go on. They will have been taught how to use inference and deduction, and then how can we get the best out of it. And they will meet books that kind of give that light bulb moment.
Yes.
Their thinking becomes more joined up together.
Yeah. And it's, with that in mind, that we've reached the last year of primary school, a really important year 6. We've got a lot to talk about year 6, and I think I'm going to just jump in straight and say, SATs. Why do you do SATs in year 6? Who are they important to? And what can parents and children in the school take out of the process of SATs?
Well, SATs are tests that give a judgment of where the child is at the end of year 6. And it's from this point that you springboard into secondary school. Because when you hit secondary school, you want them to know exactly where your child is so that they can settle quicker and move on with their education. So they are hugely important to both you as a parent, so that this is your first time your child will have come across a formal type of testing, which they're going to get every year from then on. The results of these tests will enable the secondary schools to pitch the work that they need appropriately. And nobody wants to go to secondary school and feel a little bit lost.
Yeah.
So these results are really important, actually.
So they're going to help the child be in the right place when they are already undergoing a big change and a big transition.
Absolutely.
So it's part of making it successful.
Yeah, yeah.
Brilliant.
And at school, we gear everything up to helping them achieve the best here. You wouldn't take a driving test without practice. And so we share past papers with them, past questions, we analyse them. So much so that by the time we get to the test, we're so desperate to just show how brilliant we are.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, really. And the support from parents on that. We will offer booster groups. We will offer separate lessons for children that might need the extra work, or just for the confidence.
Yes.
And actually children, come to them because they like to do the work, actually. Children really do.
Yeah. So SATs are a positive thing. And if you're supporting your child and your school in SATs, you're supporting their transition to high school, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does absolutely start there.
I must ask you this question about SATs, though. SATs, obviously, you want to see a school's SATs results getting better each year, because that's telling us that a school's progressing and doing well, isn't it? Or is there more to the SATs results each year than just looking for the school getting better.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. So a school SATs results are very cohort specific.
And what does that mean? What's a cohort?
That means that the children in year 6 in that year, how well did they do against age-related expectations?
Yeah.
And of course, that will change year on year dependent on the children.
So are you saying that the SATs results reflect the children as individuals and what they're capable of achieving?
Yeah, and we shouldn't lose sight of that. That is the point of them.
Yes.
It is about you knowing where your child sits and what's next for your child.
So it's not about analysing how good a school is, it's actually that journey to high school and making sure your child is in the right place.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Brilliant. Let's talk about preparation for high school and all the things that happen with the transition and, of course, the leavers assembly.
So moving on to high school, it relies a lot on everybody sharing their points, really. And parents really need to make sure, just like they did in reception, that they've gone and visited their new school, that they know which school fits them. Got some great, all the schools in Lichfield are great, so that's fine. But which one suits you the best? And then we will liaise behind the scenes tremendously. We will put in extra support for those that need it. We'll point out the children that might need special provisions. So it's about being prepared, really. And again, it's talk positively about it, because by the time you get to the end of the summer term with those year 6 children, they are absolutely ready to go.
Yeah.
They'll be sad to leave us and we're sad for them to go, but actually they are incredibly ready.
And that sort of leavers assembly that you have is a complete dolly mixture of the celebration of primary school, the sadness that they're moving on, but actually acknowledging what they want to be in the future, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bittersweet moment, really. Like they leave our classrooms, but they take a part of Chadsmead with them, is what we say.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, it's been a fantastic tour through all of those primary school years. Thank you so much for sharing all of your expertise with us again, Gemma. And it's really brilliant just to hear about how we can learn what's happening each year and how parents can get the best out of this special time for their children. But before we go, I'd just like to share 3 quotes which again seem to sum up everything we've been talking about today. The first comes from the broadcaster and author of parenting books, Denise Whitmer, who says, "Every school year brings new beginnings, new adventures, new friendships and new challenges." And I love this quote, which is from author Professor Jess Lair, who says, "Children are not things to be moulded. They are people to be unfolded." That's a good one, isn't it? And finally, my absolute favourite for today has to be this final quote from Lon Watters, which is, "A school is a building which has 4 walls with tomorrow inside." Parenting's quite a roller coaster ride, isn't it? But it's so much better if we ride it together and support each other. Thank you again so much to my guest, Gemma Granger. It's been fantastic. All that information you've given is so appreciated. It's such an important time, isn't it, when your child's at primary school, to keep connected with them, and the time goes so quickly, doesn't it? And I think this podcast has given us plenty to think about. So until we meet again, this is your host, Iona Chisholm, saying thank you for listening and goodbye.